Azami, you need to stall for 1 minute. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do too. Have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, yeah! You know what time it is. You know I had to pre-draw for Kagurabachi, dog. It's peak every week. So let's not waste any more time. Let's hop right into chapter 97. Vessel. And this is a crazy cover page. Hokuzono Sensei, please hold on. In fact, before I even get into the chapter, another rest. Hokuzono Sensei, please rest. Someone please get this man. Someone please get this man a break, dog. It's been going like, don't get me wrong, it's peak. But I'm hoping they get to rest, dog. It's rough. Though then again, I do agree with a lot of people. They said the last panel or like the second last panel of last chapter. In fact, let me just go to it. Why not? We here. That's the beauty of being directly on the website. I can just go straight to it. A lot of people, and I do agree with the sentiment I'm about to mention. The sketchy look of this. Like the sketchy look of this last panel in particular, this and especially this panel where it's obviously, you know, an incomplete drawing, right? Like you can see the scratchiness around his mouth and stuff like that, and the sketchiness of the entire design. It actually does feed into what like Azami's physically feeling and like the agitation of the character, right? Because notably they are very mad at Yura, naturally, considering Yura took away one of their closest friends. So I do agree with the sentiment that maybe this shouldn't be touched up and this shouldn't be touched up, because ultimately it just feeds into like the chaotic nature of everything going on right now and the insanity that everyone's going through, and very specifically the intense emotions they're feeling. So I agree with that. I don't mind the sketchy style being kept when it fits the narrative, but obviously when they're characters without faces or like it's just unclean artwork that's clearly not intentional, it's just that Hokuzono Sensei didn't have enough time but had to submit something, then I'm more like, take your time to touch that up later for the volume release. But let's see. Let's not waste more time. Let's hop right into chapter 97, Vessel. All right, interesting. This is a very cool panel. The Shinichi being reflected in Brain in Azami's eyes. Let's see. Oh, all right. We're getting some more. Kaminabi headquarters is surrounded by a force field that repels anyone who isn't Kaminabi. That strong, immense force field derives from natural sources. The magic inscriptions covering the enormous subterranean surface, or edifice, convert the Earth's heat into spirit energy, supplying it to the building's interior. That's smart, because like the Earth should never really run out of heat, right? Or, well, maybe it's gonna get too hot soon enough. But with that being the case, that's smart. In order to essentially have a consistent, ever-present power source, use the mantle if you're going to go into it that deeply. Magic. So I'm assuming that's how they're able to build that deep. But yeah, if the Earth is hot, use it, and might as well. Because typically, like, the reason the heat death of the universe is considered something that will happen eventually, along with like 50 other ways that the universe could end, is very specifically because, like, we actually can't do anything with heat. Like, heat, once it becomes heat, like, it can't be transmitted into anything else. It just scatters. So eventually, when the last star burns out, there's going to be nothing but heat. And heat's not energy. It's heat. What's the scientific explanation fully? I forget it. But, like, heat cannot be transformed into another form of energy. But, of course, in a magical universe, heat from the planet... Heat from the mantle of the planet can be transcribed. It can actually be used as a source of energy, and when there's nothing but heat being produced, that's actually a smart way to utilize that heat. Let's see. To the building's interior. Spirit energy is Spirit energy is a life force. It must be associated with a human and channeled through a person's will to become sorcery. Oh, this poor Dorama guy, dog. Like, for a character that got one shot all the way back in, like, the first 5 chapters, he's very beloved, and he keeps popping up in his own unique ways. Let's see. Yeah! And then, boom. Doll. Let's see. Spirit energy that belongs to no one can't be wielded. In other words, this vast spirit energy is intrinsically beyond human control. Spirit energy with nowhere to go simply fizzles. That's where I come in. I don't know why. I know I give this guy a completely different voice. In fact, I think I give him a variation of the Uruha voice, but I'm going to stick with this one just because I like the narration of it. That's where I come in. Wait, why do you say that? Like, is he talking to the narrator right now? Let's see. The person at the force field's core is selected once every 10 years from a very small pool of candidates. If they complete a decade of service, they're promised enough compensation for a life of leisure thereafter. First, the person's body must be restructured. Oh, so I'm guessing he's the traitor, right? Because if he's the one maintaining and manifesting the barrier, how come he's blocking out Chihiro and Samura? Why are they currently... like, I still can't get the image out of my head of Samura and Chihiro, like, teleporting, and they're, like, traveling through the feathers, and then suddenly they bonk against the barrier, and they're like... what? And now it's just Samura being like, hit it harder, Chihiro. And Chihiro's like, old man, can't you help? And he's like, I'm currently carrying everyone else's feathers right now. I cannot help. Break down the bear. So, let's see. Scroll realms. First, the person's body must be restructured. So they eat a scroll. For roughly 4 months, they drift in a liminal space between life and death. They lose a number of organs in their reproductive function. Darn! I mean, I guess to handle, like, the planet itself, that makes sense. But, jeez. Like, which organs? Like, the liver? Let's see. What would be here? Left side of the body? So that's, like, a good chunk of the lung. That's all I got. I have no idea about the rest of the body. Maybe a piece of the heart? Let's see. A tremendous energy has nowhere to escape. Their body becomes a vector. Oh, their body becomes its vector, transforming it into the force field. Ah, okay. So once again, it's literally, so they're kind of like a filter, right? Like they are the water that is the spirit energy goes to, well, no, it's not, a filter's the wrong word. They're like, because a filter would imply that the energy is being lost, but no, it's being converted. So what's a good example? They're like a water wheel, right? So essentially, the water that is the spirit energy that's being converted from the magical seals turns into spirit energy that gets flowed into them, and that energy, what would be electricity, the result of a water wheel, the energy that comes out of that gets turned into the force field. So they essentially become a living water wheel, which absolutely destroys their body, which sucks, but gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Let's see. The tremendous energy has nowhere to escape. Their body becomes its vector, transforming it into the force field. Their presence alone is what makes that powerful force field possible. Okay, so he's about to die, isn't he, huh? I mean, I'm guessing. Like, why else would we bring this up? Or he's either a traitor or he's about to die. But then again, it does make sense that he's a traitor, considering he was against the guy who was the traitor. And then we know there are other people who do help maintain it. That's the whole thing about the force field, right? Because that was that one guy who got hit. Let's see. Their presence alone is what makes that powerful force field possible. They uphold the force field's core. 6 others are close by to provide auxiliary support. Okay, so that's what those 6. So that's what the 6 others are. One of the 6 was a traitor. The auxiliary support faded. It left just enough of a hole in the force field to allow the Hishaku to break through. And what I'm guessing, there must be another traitor then, right? If it's not the main guy himself, it's got to be one of the other 6 that's like essentially altering the force field. By auxiliary support, I'm assuming it's like 6 others. How many sides? Well, no. Technically, I'm guessing what the 6 others do, right? And this is the mathematician in your boy speaking, so feel free to correct me, because I'm not actually a mathematician. A cube, which is what the shape of the force field is, right? Like, we know the force field is in the shape of a cube. A cube has 6 sides, or a rectangular prism has 6 sides. The top, the bottom, then the 4 sides. So I'm assuming the reason there are 6 specific people is because the main force field guy, this fellow, who lost organs, he like formulates the general structure into a shape. So he gets like a messy cube, or like a messy 6-sided shape, right? A messy rectangular prism. But then it's the job of the other 6 people to essentially fortify each one of those sides. Like, they pick a side. Like, one guy, like, say this guy handles the top, this guy handles the bottom, one side, one side, one side, one side. That's why there are 6 of them. If I had to hazard a guess, I don't know. I'm kind of just freestyling here, because it's interesting that the number is 6, and there are 7 total. But let's see. 6 others are close by to provide auxiliary support. Support. I keep forgetting this guy's name. The Shinichi's power is being unleashed in this building? Yes. And spirit. See, I'm gonna switch back to the old voice for this guy, because that was the narrator. And the spirit energies above our reinforcements. Why don't they come straight here? Yes. Wait, no. It should be yes, and then that statement is read. Communications are cut off too. Something must be wrong with the force field. The only one who could be influencing the force field are the 6 people connected to it here. Among them is another traitor. Yep, that's the thing. So one guy outed himself. So, and that's smart though, to have multiple, just in case. But that does make me believe that maybe it is more than just they pick a side, right? Unless it's like going with the cube analogy, right? And there's one guy reinforcing the top. Because I'm assuming what's happening is Samura and Chihiro are trying to come like top down, right? Because notably everyone's looking up. Obviously, because, they're further into the depths of the building. But, like, it's not like Chihiro and Samura are approaching from the side. They're probably above ground and, like trying to break down through. So, if going with the sides analogy I mentioned with the 6 auxiliary people, if the guy maintaining the top of the shield is, like, looking up, and he feels them attacking, he's probably super hardening it just for them. And people brought up a very fantastic example from JJK in regards to the force field blocking out Chihiro and Samura, where the veil and the barrier that was set up around the Kyoto Goodwill event literally let everyone else in except for Satoru Gojo, of course. So it was strong enough to restrain him. Very likely the same for this. The guy who's maybe maintaining the top or helped maintain the barrier has completely sacked everything. Maybe anyone else could get in. But there are no communications, for one, and for two, no other enchanted blade wielders can get in. So maybe hypothetically this will even block out if he still had Kumiyori, which he doesn't right now. But if Yuriko still had Kumiyori and he wanted to get in, maybe he wouldn't be allowed in either, because then he still is an enchanted blade wielder. But who knows how specific their control is and how specific the blocking is. Let's see. Among them is another traitor. Uh-oh, they're all sweating? Oh. Interesting, though. Interesting. So these guys are all sweating, but the main guy says no. No, it's not anybody here. Hey, but the only people who can influence the force field are here. There's one other. Oh, well. Actually, so, I don't know, let's see. Another vessel like me. Ah. Interesting. Attention! This message will be short and not repeated. There's one more vessel in this building. Huh? A vessel? See, I can't tell if this is incomplete or this is just like Hokuzono Sensei tiny drawing. Maybe that, because look at Kiri, dog. Kiri, what they do to you? Let's see. The linchpin of headquarters who controls the force field with their own body. Normally there's only one, but there's one more. So Kasa and Yura, they plotted very, very well to have this many contingencies. But I wonder who the other vessel is. Is it a character we know, or is this gonna be a new character? Another vessel like me. Just one more? That person must have overwritten the force field's parameters. As a result, we're unable to summon reinforcements. The backup. In addition to our current vessel that maintains the force field, the device needed to cultivate its successors was already prepared, just in case of unforeseen circumstances. Ah, the scroll realms upon realms. Okay. Interesting. Naturally, it was heavily guarded, but with Kasen's guidance, it could have easily been swapped out for a fake. We might as well have served up. Okay, so that's smart. I mean, I do get it though, right? You don't want to have, like, especially if something were to happen to the current vessel, you would want a backup ready pretty much immediately. But it's interesting. That means Kasen must have allowed someone else to go through the training, right? Because supposedly they need to spend at least 4 months in that liminal space between life and death. So someone's consistently on the edge, ready to do that. Where'd they get that person? Because they would have to be a traitor on top of that, right? It's not like someone could just randomly, I mean, unless they're like a super prodigy, I highly doubt someone could just eat the scroll of realms upon realms and immediately be vessel ready. And even then, I'm shocked that the second vessel user is able to interfere with the barrier at all, considering they aren't in the barrier center, right? Like, they aren't in the center room. So does it not really matter where they are? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Then again, this is the thing. The one critique I do have for this section of the arc in particular, the whole traitor idea, it works for the idea that obviously it's a large organization. Large organizations typically have a little bit of devious darkness and corruption. So, like, it works on that level. But, big what did you believe about cheeks? I don't know any of these traitors. Right? Like notably, the whole thing with Kasa in particular, it sort of makes you feel like it's that issue with, like, knowing something versus feeling something about something that you know. if that combination of words made any sense. I know that Kasen is the traitor. I know Kasen's reasoning behind being the traitor. I don't really care about it, though. And that's the same thing for whoever this hypothetical vessel trader is. Unless it's someone we do know, which I highly doubt. Like, I really don't know. Like, I can't think of any Kabunabi establishment who would be like this. Even this vessel concept was just introduced this chapter, even though we've been with this guy for a little bit. So, I don't know. While it is cool that there is a secondary backup vessel, while it does make sense in narrative why there would be a secondary backup vessel based on how it works, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll feel something, but right now I'm like, are you cool? Cool stuff. Potato chip, but whatever. Let's see. Another vessel. Oh, and just like the whole idea, how is it working? Like, how can you control it from not the vessel room? But I guess anyone is anything. Let's see. We might as well have served it up on a silver platter. Hakuri, Kiri, I'm sorry, but I need you to... Wait. Hakuri, Kiri, I'm sorry, but I need you back in the battle. Our top priority is restoring the force field. But like, is it restore? Like, I think, isn't the issue right now that the force field's too strong? Like, I don't think the issue is that it needs to be restored. I think the issue is it's a little too swole right now. It's blocking out it's blocking communications and it's blocking out your two strongest fighters that are not. Kiri, where is your nose? Don't do this to me. I'm so used to Suzuki Sensei Sakamoto's babe doing it. Where's your nose, Kiri? You were literally wearing glasses. Where is it? Let's see. Roger. She's like, oh, I can go back into the fade? Sure. Let's see. A top priority. But wait. Going back to the whole whoa. No, what the? Why am I getting bumps on my face? That's really not even near my hairline. But are we still like? Can Hakuri not seal the Shinichi? Still, like, can he not teleport it in? Is it because your spirit energy's already? Can you not like at least register it and then seal it away? Going back to my Wi-Fi router example from a couple chapters ago, like, couldn't that still work? Like, don't you still want to like get rid of the Shinichi? Isn't it a bad thing to put Hakuri back in there? Like, you should still just have him lock away the Shinichi. I highly doubt it's good. Well, I mean, technically, I guess we do know. I guess there's no point, really. But you don't want Yoro to get his hands on it. You don't want the Sword Saint to get their hands on it. So, like, I still think, even if the Shinichi can be wielded while it's technically still in another dimension, like, technically Yoro could still have access to his powers, I think it's at least worth getting rid of the thing, put it with Hakuri. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it would corrupt him as long as he doesn't want to use it. So, like, I feel like putting him back into the fight this quick is actually a bad move on this little guy who I keep forgetting the name of his part. I don't know. Let's see. Is restoring the force field. With a second vessel in play, the circuit that generates the force field is altered, changing the force field's function. Now, it's serving only to repel those two enchantments. So, yeah, so it is literally. So, those two materials. So, actually, if Hirohiko still did have Kumiyori, he could get in. So, its function is changed. Interesting, though, that he doesn't have any dominion over that. Like, this vessel alone, who doesn't have, like, 5 of the people supporting him, is able to alter it this much. But I'm guessing because it is so vague, right? Keep out anyone who's not Kabunabi, now it's just keeping out the enchanted blades. It is very similar to that whole veil / barrier example from JJK, where everyone but Satoru Gojo was allowed in. Presumably, everyone except communications, so any, like, radio waves, and these enchanted blade bearers are able to come in. Though I do wonder, like, since Summer has been shown to teleport his blade to him, could they just, like, put the enchanted blade down, go in, and then teleport the enchanted blades to them? Like, that could work. I know they can't use Hakuri himself for that, because, like, he needs to re-register the blades, which he hasn't had for now. But let's see. This requires drastic measures. With 2 vessels, the energy is irregular and unstable. The effects are even influencing the building's communication system. Ah, okay. So it's not even that communications are being blocked, it's just that it's not working properly. Ah. Okay, so that's more, so that explains it. So it's not, the second vessel isn't doing something as complicated as, like, blocking out communications, and also Tobimune and N10 specifically. It's just like, those 2 enchanted blades, that's it. But because the energy's being all wibbly-wobbly now, communications just aren't working. It's like how technically you don't even need to, like, directly mess with certain communications, or, like, radio waves and stuff like that. Just, like, certain things in the way can cause them to get fuzzy because of distances and stuff like that, and what materials are in between. So I get that. Let's see. That must have been factored into the plan. However, even if it gives them an advantage, the price to pay is... Oh, so he... Well, I doubt it. I doubt he's the vessel. That wouldn't make sense. Let's see. However, even if this gives them this advantage, the price to pay is... In other words, they're fully prepared to do whatever it takes. Yura will be king. There's no way this kid is, like, I mean, notably, it says the vessel, it's not like the Enchanted Blades. The vessel doesn't necessarily get rid of their sorcerers. Maybe this guy is super powerful. But let's see. You're king of, like, what, king of the world? Well, no. Notably, people pointed out that Hokusan says they apparently say the story will never go beyond the scope of the current country it's in. So, like, king of this nation, I guess? Yura will be king. Ooh, wait a minute. Wait. First things first, I think Hokusan Sensei, well, they probably didn't get actual rest. They must have gotten some rest, though, because there hasn't been a single, like, incomplete panel so far. Like, the only one is, like, Kiri, where's your nose at? But, like, so far, this chapter's been really good. I mean, obviously, it's not the most, but then again, we still do have this. So it is still a relatively complex chapter. And even this mouth is super duper detailed. So, like, I guess Hokusan Sensei got at least a little bit of rest, or at least a little bit of time that they could do this much for this chapter. But, interesting that he would be king. Let's see. You'll wear yourself out, fighting like that. Thank you for your concern. But you should worry more about yourself. You have the Shinichi. You can't fend off an unarmed opponent. I'd be panicking if I were you. Well, to be fair. I mean, I get it. He's currently just, like, gaslighting Yura right now, or at least attempting to. But, at the same time, buddy, you are supposedly the strongest, and you are currently down both hands. Though, admittedly, yeah, Yura is on a time limit. And I want to cut back to the Sword Saint, and I want to see what they're doing. Like, essentially, the last time we got, like, a full body shot of the Sword Saint, they were just, they were standing up, essentially. So I do want to know, is anything else happening with that? Like, what's going on the Sword Saint's end of things? Are they currently moving still? Like, the whole point was they weren't literally able to move because of those pillars, but they stood up. Are they leaving? Is the Sword Saint actually moving? Or is it really fully, like, does Yura still have to, like, burrow through the building to go get to the Sword Saint? Or is the Sword Saint coming to Yura? And notably, what are both of their, like, what is their knowledge on the location of the Shinichi? That's why I said it was still so important for Hakuya to hypothetically seal it away, because even if the Shinichi's powers can still be used by Yura, even if it's in a separate space, the fact that he can't get his hands on the blade to make the thing permanent, that's still very, very important. And just the idea that the Sword Saint could be moving at all. I know all communications are down, so they probably don't know that the Sword Saint is moving, but still, it's not worth the risk of him getting his hands on the blade again. And not even that I think that the Sword Saint will immediately pop ult, right? Like, notably, I'm with the mistranslation from a few chapters back. I thought the Sword Saint literally did pop ult when Yura started to use the Shinichi, but no, he didn't. And I don't think the Sword Saint will just yell malediction and start maledictioning everywhere the second that he gets his hands back on the Shinichi. But I do think that it could be dangerous for him to get close to it at all, because once again he'd be reunited with the apex of his power, and it took all 5 enchanted blade bearers wielding their enchanted blades in their primes to take him down last time. And keyword is take him down. Currently we have 2, and clearly Yura, who has no experience with the Shinichi, is powerful enough to take down the other apex of sorcery in Azami, while the apex of sorcery is Shiva, right? So, as powerful as Samura is, post his like years of better understanding his true realm, and as powerful as Yura is with his little access to Shinichi, and as powerful as Chihiro is with his better understanding of Enten's true realm, I don't think there'd be comp for the Sword Saint, even if he hasn't improved over these last 18-ish years. And I bet, just like Samura's improved a lot, with nothing but 18 years of reflection and thinking, something tells me the Sword Saint is an entirely different beast than they were back in the war. So, I still say you probably want to get rid of the Shinichi, but we can't do that, because obviously I still do believe that the Sword Saint will end up with the Shinichi by the end of this arc. We'll see. And notably, one of the main reasons I feel like we still need to see what Yura's base sorcery is. The fact that we haven't, I don't think we're just going to lock that away. Before Hirohiko got his hands on an enchanted blade, we saw his base sorcery. Kuguri is also carrying one of the enchanted blades, but we saw his base sorcery in Twilight Wave. So I'm assuming Yura's going to face the same fate. We're at least going to have to see his base sorcery at least once before we actually get to see him, get the Shinichi. Though ultimately, as much as I am convinced that the Sword Saint will wield the Shinichi, I also do believe Yura's going to get his hands on it eventually. But I do think the Sword Saint is going to be a very, very, very fat roadblock until that. So I think he's going to get it by the end of this arc. Let's see. I'd be panicking if I were you. Oh, okay. Speak of him, and he shall appear. So he is just standing. He hasn't moved much yet. All right. Bit by bit, it's coming into my grasp. Hey, yeah, I'm kidding. Let's see. Okay. Dots are rising. Okay. Ooh, but you know what? I love how Hokuto Sensei draws Centipede, like, mixing, interweaving into the blade, or into the page, right? The way it overlaps, the butterfly coming off. Oh, it's so good. And it is very interesting that the Shinichi is so heavily associated with nature, right? Like, notably, Centipede, a bug, the flowers, nature-based, butterflies, once again, nature and insects. It's like, it is a very, like, I mean, not it's weird because not insidious. It's almost like nature is beautiful in many ways, but there's this haunting presence behind the Shinichi. It's the most powerful because it's the most natural intertwined. Because I'm trying to think, but then again, a lot of the other enchanted blades have like nature stuff with like Crow, with his birds, and Suzaku, another bird, and what's the last one? Owl. So like, Tobimune's bird based. Kumayuri's weird. Kumayuri's kind of weird. It's like, Kumiyuri honestly feels like the most abstract of them all. It feels like very funny with all the abilities we've seen of it. Enten can just copy stuff. Cloud Gouger was definitely like lightning based with Mei, or just like weather based. So interesting, nature or like insects and plants is what the Shinichi seems to be based around. Bit by bit, it's coming into my grasp. I'm ready to live up to your expectations. I wonder if he's talking to Azami here, or specifically like just the idea of the Sword Saint. Ooh, but once again, you can tell the Sword Saint, whatever like mental hijacking he's doing, it's getting stronger. You can see by the flowers that are intensely growing out of Yura. It looks like the centipede is even like crawling in and out of him. But Ooh, but note how deeply black his eyes are here. You can barely see what I assume are like his irises and pupils. I'll bring order. Yeah, to this nation. So he wants to be king of this nation. I'll bring order to this nation. Okay. Let's see what you do. Just as you said, thanks to its instability, the force field will succumb in a few minutes. Okay. So it is. So like my little silly headcanon is true. Chihiro and Summer are currently open up, let us in. He's just banging on it. Let's see. The force field will succumb in a few minutes. Before that happens, your will reach the Sword Master. All we have to do is kill your vessel and restore the force field. There's a lot though, and like you don't know who or where the vessel is, dog. Like you don't know. Let's see, and restore the force field. If the force field is restored, reinforcements will arrive. We need the enchanted blades to stop him. That you? Y'all moving? Y'all got motion? Please don't die. Please don't die. Please, I'm begging you. Please don't die. Yeah. Once again, look at how intense it's getting. Interesting though. I guess maybe the flowers aren't there. The flowers seem very inconsistent, right? They're clearly drawn to be growing out of Yuri here, but he doesn't have the flowers here. Like not a single flower on him. He just has a centipede growing out of him. Interesting. Let's see. But Natsuki and Uruha are both getting back up. Let's see. Ooh. This eye is way too large for his head, but it's very, very cool looking. Let's see. The muscles and bones of both my arms are shredded. Shinushi's powers are ridiculous. Unfortunately, that's really the limits of what I can do. Pretty soon, it'll probably get worse too. But even so, I can still hit you. Notably, I see a lot of people have Azami highly rated in their characters for Kagurabachi. I think he's cool, but like notably he isn't. Like, I don't even think, is he in my top 10? Can I name 10 characters like more than Azami? I feel like I can. Right at the top of the dome, Chihiro, Samura, Hirohiko, Hokari, Kiora, Sojo, Shiba. I actually really like Tenri. Tenri, Hiyuki, and Kuguri, honestly. But even then, I don't think that's not actually my top 10. Like, I'm just thinking of 10 characters like more than Azami. But Azami's getting a whole lot of love, and he's definitely slowly but surely rising in my rankings. I love the like clear insanity behind the man. Like not even in a bad way. But like he's nuts in the sense that I'm gonna do anything to get this lick back. The determination to get the lick back and to stand against what essentially is the impossible. That's crazy. And like look at that. The SFX of his bones literally crunching, snapping, and cracking, and his blood splattering as he forces his fists to form. Like that. Oh, it's metal. I ain't gonna knock it. Let's see. I can still hit you. I'll buy us all the time I can. Just get here before I die. And that's true. Get here before he dies in particular. As long he can be brutalized, but as people point out, Suzaku's regenerated entire limbs before. Like there is. Oh, but Suzaku has regenerated entire limbs before. So realistically, we can brutalize Uruha, Natsuki, and Azami all we want, as long as Samura gets here in time. He can heal them, presumably. Let's see. Where's the other vessel? If he was at headquarters this whole time, I would have noticed. It's someone who just got here. In other words, so it could be any of these Shaku. If I had to have, like, it could be the boy, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's, I don't think it's Hokuto. Well, it may be Hokuto. But notably, Hokuto still hasn't shown up yet. So we'll see. We'll see if Hokuto shows up at the end of this chapter. But if it's not Hokuto, it probably is. It has to be High Guy, right? The guy with the high neck or worst genus. Like it has to be him, right? Because everyone else seems in fighting shape. Even this guy, let's say. Or it's either worst genus or the kid. Because the kid could have been nervous because he's like, I literally don't have organs right now. Let's see. Do not stop killing the Ishaku. Assume that anyone who stands in your way is aligned with the Ishaku. Maybe not anybody. Exterminate the Ishaku as quickly as possible. Okay, so Hokuto, he is still here, but he seems like he's about to lock in. Let's see. The kid, the girl, he's still yawning. And then, I think it's worst genus. Because notably, he already seems to have, like, he was the basis of the teleport, right? So he probably does have some sort of interaction with the barrier already. And I wonder if their assumption is even wrong though. Like, what if there isn't another vessel? What if there's something else that these guys can do that is interfering with it? But she seems too fine. He seems too fine. It's these two. It's one of these. I don't think it's Hokuto either. Like, maybe it's Hokuto. But I highly doubt it's Hokuto. I think Hokuto is going to interfere in this battle, though. I think ultimately, especially considering we don't see what happens to Natsuki and Uraha here, I'm assuming Hokuto is going to lock right back into the battle. So, overall, and there probably is a vessel. I'm just spitballing there, but a W chapter. Fantastic tension building, a good chunk of world building, extrapolation on the abilities of sorcery, a little reconfirmation of a little stuff we already knew, but still good stuff to apply. Tripling down on the idea that the Shaku is the core right here, and the fact that all of them are currently alive, not all well, but all alive, is very, very important. I do think if there's any mistake that's going to cost the characters, though, it's very specifically the mistake that the little guy makes here. The idea that he sends Hakuri away, back to the battlefield, before having him take the Shinichi. And once again, feel free to correct me. I've been wrong about Kagurabachi before. I'll be wrong about it again. Correct me if I'm wrong. Hakuri could still hypothetically register it and teleport it into the storehouse. He could still remove it, right? Whether that would shut down Yura, highly unlikely, right? Presumably, I'm not sure if he could use it in a separate dimension, but I wouldn't be shocked if he could. But still, he couldn't get his hands on the physical blade. And neither could the Sword Saint. Those are the two beings who we need to keep the Shinichi out of the hands of at all time. So sending Hakuri off before he does that, that's gonna be the mistake that's gonna cost him the arc. And notably, I do love how a lot of the arcs are built around Hakuri's power plays, and whether or not, if he did one thing or another, or if he's not doing something or the other, that they're built around him. He's a very powerful deuteragonist in that sense. He's super pivotal to the narrative. But he that's the big mistake. Sending them out before that's done, and leaving the Shinichi in play. I think that's the big issue. Because whether it's Yura going for it, or whether it's the Sword Saint himself, and the Sword Saint hasn't moved yet. Like, this does seem to be a current... Oh, where is it? This right here. This does seem to be a current panel and location of the Sword Saint. So he hasn't moved that far. He hasn't even fully stood up yet. But, in that case, either of those two getting their hands on the Shinichi is the worst thing that could happen. They should have had Hakuri show up. That's going to backfire. That's going to be the key that's going to end up costing them this arc. The Kabanabe, and presumably our casting crew. The fact that they didn't have Hakuri do that. Now, that's, of course, if I'm not missing something. If it's confirmed that since Yura's spirit energy was put into the Enchanted Blade, Hakuri can't register it, then that's one thing. And then I think, okay, that's fine. But we know that can't be the case, because Shinichi was registered well before the Rakuzachi, when it was able to be teleported in and out of the storehouse and registered. If I'm pretty sure about that. So, like, realistically, that shouldn't be the case, but I may be wrong about that. Feel free to correct me. But overall, if you haven't already seen this video, please do me a favor and leave flowers and bugs. I don't know. I can't help get over the Shinichi symbol. Leave flowers and bugs in the comment section down below. And then thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that notifications so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you have a Patreon below where you support me for as low as $1 a month. The things like exclusive videos, like content, and more. Also, now we can name member channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include live reactions to this Tuesday to review, ad reactions of all my videos, and if you become a $12 Patreon or $12 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also a link to my co-founder down below. You shall find me for a short video, $20 being on video, or any views at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off. I'd like to give thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, Brandon Payne, J2MA, Guillaume, Buddha Ura, Alex Kenny, Enzo, Swift Strike, Super Flame 0, Yuki Ally, Azo2404, Striker Man, Aso 8, Plant Crone, Grim, Black Sage, Marco222, Straw, Twisted, Ollie, The Boy, Corey Watson, Damon Brown, Magic, and CCC. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our line art tier patrons: A+A, Kevin, Encarnacion, Dread Zoan, Sean, and Midnight Lord 21. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our Inc. tier members: Austin Wimberly Aochia, King, RTX, and then Shrimpo the 4th Shrimp 06. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. Then, I'd like to give a final thank you to our colored art tier patrons: Walkie Munoz and Walkie Munoz.